What up? Good morning. Good afternoon. Whatever it is for you. For me, it's technically afternoon, but it's morning. You know what I mean? Did a little sleeping in today. Nothing wrong with that. Don't judge me. Sometimes you need sleep, you know? Even God rested on a Sunday, you know? Think about that. Think about that shit. By the way, well, I'll wait till there's more people here. Just give a reminder to all of you. I want cookies now? It's not really cookies. Kind of cookies, I guess. There's like little cereal bars or whatever. Yeah. Fat as fuck. I like your profile pic. Ejected. Chomped. Chomped. Those Cocoa Puff bars were amazing. I never had a Cocoa Puff bar. Oh yeah, I did. I remember what you're fucking talking about. You're right. They made like legit cereal bars. They made Cocoa Puffs and Fruity Pebbles.
And then Rice Krispies.
Yep. You used to be able to get them at the store, like the little prepackaged ones, and you'd... Dude, they don't make those no more?
Guess not.
Fuck me, man.
Sorry, I spilled some coffee.
Oh, that's okay. I think it was probably me that did it. It's odd how little factoids can be drug from the aether of the brain. Yeah, that's true. Like little shit that like you have placed in fucking like some kind of cabinet that you don't think you'll ever need to think about again, but you're able to access it. It's so strange.
And it's more accessible than like important things.
Yeah.
like
you can try as hard as you
12 or
want.
something.
Yeah, what is that phone number? Fuck. You know, like a phone number you've called a million times, you won't remember that shit. Or you guys see me brain fart names all the time. Like I'll brain fart names sometimes of people that I'm not super aware of, and sometimes I'll just drop a name that like I know. I'll be like, yeah, The Shining was great, and the main character, guy that played James. No, it's not James McAvoy. Quit saying James McAvoy. It's Jack Nicholson. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what is that? But then somebody goes like, what about those Cocoa Pebbles bars? And all of a sudden my brain is flooded with exactly how the package looked. All the different flavors they came in. What is that shit? Nick Jackavoy. Yeah. The mind is an enigma indeed. It's very strange. Important information seems to become inaccessible sometimes, while trivial information that is not important seems to remain accessible for life in some instances. Like I have super fucking clear memories from my childhood, but all of them are like completely and utterly, it's not like some big thing happened or somebody yelled at me or like, you know what I mean? The clearest, most concentrated, pure memories that I have of my childhood are totally mundane. Like I have this like absolutely unbreakably clear memory of sitting in my old house that I was raised in on a summer morning watching the stuff that came after cartoons, and fucking The People's Court was on, and you know what I mean? Like, why do I remember that? That is such a clear memory in my head. I remember going to the refrigerator while The People's Court was on and grabbing a slice of yellow American cheese and a little glass of orange juice and taking it back to sit on the couch and watch The People's Court. I was probably fucking 8. Why do I remember that? but I can't pull Philip Seymour Hoffman's name out of my head.
Or your that theater teacher.
Right, Michael Fields. I forget his name for fucking years, but I still remember when I was 8 watching The People's Court and I went and got a slice of cheese. Why? Why do I remember that? What's the significance of that memory in my mind? And these things, like these clear memories, will pop up sometimes, triggered by some other like adjacent memory, and I'll just get lost for a second remembering some shit from when I was a kid. But it's never like, almost never, consequential. It's never like dad yelled at me or mom got in a car crash or this, that. It's like, remember that time you were like sitting outside with your friend and you found some matches and you set a whole newspaper on fire and got in trouble for it? Or remember that time you were running with your dog through the field and you tripped and skinned your knee really bad and you had to like hobble home? You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Just like little things that were ultimately of no consequence. Just like stuck right here. It's probably a damn good slice of cheese. It was, dude. It was not Kraft singles wrapped. It was pre that. So it was like a block of cheese with slices, you know, that you got from the deli. My mom would get like a stack like that for sandwiches, and I went in there and peeled myself off one, got a little glass of orange juice, and went back to the living room and sipped the orange juice and ate the cheese and watched People's Court. What? Why is that a thing? My brain like put that in such an important place in my mind.
I wish I didn't fucking like dump truck all the Latin I learned. Just like beep beep beep.
I mean, dude, the brain does that though. Like if something becomes irrelevant to it, like it's not like you forget, it's just your brain puts it way down in the back room somewhere. And like little pieces of it probably come back to you all the time. But like I could have asked you last night, I was trying to talk about Satan. Non-servium. Is that how you say it? I will not serve. That's the famous Satan quote. Non-servium.
Maybe. I don't remember the fucking.
Yeah, the pronunciations are the toughest part of Latin.
Well, I don't remember the fucking verb fucking whatever the fuck, the conjugation shit.
Right. But that's all he says is non, and then it's SERVIAM. That's the Satan quote that Satan says to God before God has Michael cast him out of heaven. And it, I guess roughly, is I will not serve. I think you just have a better visual memory than language memory. I have a decent language memory, but I do have a way better visual memory.
You were right. It is I will not serve.
Mm-hmm. I just don't know how to pronounce it.
Non-servium.
Non-servium.
Servium.
Servium.
Yeah.
Non-servium.
Like V's are kind of like W's and kind of like
Servium.
W's. Yeah.
So non-servium. Cool. I'm pretty good at pronunciations once I'm taught. Like I picked up a lot from one of my exes who spoke fluent French, and she had great fucking pronunciation. And so there are certain French phrases that I'm pretty good. I can pull out the fucking. I can trill my R's pretty well. So my Spanish pronunciation is pretty good too. Be amazing to understand the brain's filing system. Every time I think about this, it always makes me think of Dreamcatcher, which is the only movie that I can think of that actually delves into how the brain warehouses information.
Well, that animation movie Inside Out did that too.
Yeah, see, I've never seen Inside Out.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about like, so Inside Out shows like a whole, like the brain puts in memories
they have
here
like
and
emotional attachments to different memories, and they're all filed away. And
got it.
certain things get put into temporary storage to be dumped and shit.
Got it. Yeah. That's really interesting. It's an interesting concept. But yeah, the brain is a very strange beast, man. Its own worst enemy. Think about how many people are eaten alive by their own brain. Their brain just turns inward on them and becomes their own worst enemy. I'm one of those people where, like, I had to learn how to fucking retrain my brain to not try and kill me all the time. What is that? The memories I have of my childhood are normally traumatic. I can remember those too. Like traumas, big events and stuff. I can remember that shit too. But you would think that like some of the other memories would have like a particularly over happy attachment to them, because these other big memories that I can access have a great sadness or fear attached to them, right? No. The happy attachment memories that I have are all like simple things. Like I said, the joy of like being 8 years old and alone on a Saturday morning with full control of the TV, and nobody's telling you what you can go to the refrigerator and get because there's nobody to watch you. So you go and get whatever you want to eat. You get a little glass of orange juice, you get a slice of cheese, take it back. Just the joy of that is why that memory's in my head. Never mind all the beautiful Christmas presents that I got when I was a kid that I can't remember. Never mind all the beautiful vacations I was on when I was a kid that I have very few memories of or hardly any memory of. That moment. Just being on my own. Because that's what it was. It was like, I don't think I was alone in the house, but my mom was probably asleep, having worked a night shift. My dad was probably at work. I was running around the house. I remember I had the remote. I was all happy because I had the remote and I could change it to whatever I wanted. Big deal to an 8-year-old, I guess, and it sticks right in your head. I knew I could eat whatever I wanted in the house. That, it was nice. My first clear memory is of my grandmother, who's passed away on my mom's side. The first thing I can clearly remember is sitting on her lap, and I was little. I must have been probably like 1.5, maybe 2, maybe a little older than 2. I'd have to ask my mom. Sitting on my grandma's lap, and I remember she was smoking a cigarette and waving it around and talking, and she had one hand around me, and I was sitting on her lap. So she had one hand on my belly to hold me in place, and she's talking and smoking. And I remember I reached out with my hand to touch her cigarette, and she looked down at me, and I can remember her face looking down at me, and she said, no, that's hot caca. You don't touch that. You don't want that. That's hot caca. And I remember that fucking so clearly, it like slaps me in the face. But I have no other memories from that early in my life at all. Like, not even close. After that, my first memories are around 8, 7, something like that. Yeah, caca was a warning word. Yeah. It was my first word. I said the word caca before anything. That was my first, like, recognizable word outside of tries at mama dada. You know what I mean? Every kid's first word is like mama da. You know what I mean? But like my first like non mama dada word was caca. Because my grandma used to use it a lot. My mom used it a lot when I was a little kid. That's caca.
I'm just really bad with language, I think. It's like I got taught a bunch of fucking sign language when I was a little kid, and that just kind of flitted away.
Yeah. I mean, you probably retain way. See, this is the thing.
Yeah.
people like you that don't use something for a long time, I think you have less of it than you do. If you started working it again, I bet you'd fall back into it way quicker than somebody who has no ASL. You know what I mean? It's like riding a bike almost. A lot of that shit would start to come back to you. You would not need to go long before you got yourself really comfortable with speaking that way. Do you remember how long it was before you started speaking? Were you a late speaker or an early speaker?
Sure. I feel like I was just about average. Like I picked up reading real quick, maybe not as early as you did.
Yeah. That's one thing, like, I'm not to brag, I was super not average. I was speaking full sentences at 1 year old. My mom has a tape of me singing Jesus Loves Me, This I Know, for the Bible Tells Me So, on key at 1. So I had a real facility for language as a kid. I talked early.
God damn it.
It's okay. I'll find it. Today's your birthday, so take some money. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Happy birthday.
I know my mom almost put me in speech therapy, so.
Yeah. So you had like did you have
not poor vocabulary, just poor enunciation and shit.
did you, I'm not trying to dig, but did you have like the Cindy Brady kind of syndrome?
What do you mean?
Cindy Brady is like I'm trying to think. It's like a speech impediment pattern. Well, people talk like that.
No, it was just really poor enunciation and mumbling and stuff.
Got it. How young were you when you were in that?
Like I said, she almost put me in, but
Oh, she didn't.
Yeah.
Okay. I think maybe you just were expressing what is your personality at that point. You're a very quiet and pensive person, and so, you know what I mean? Maybe you were just trying to be that. But dude, I was a fucking chatterbox. My mom will tell stories about how she couldn't stop me from talking. And then I wanted to be read to constantly, and I would follow along. So I started reading, like, or at least getting the basics of reading on my own, because I would put my finger on it and she would read the thing to me, and I learned how to read. By like 2.5 years old, I was reading Dr. Seuss to myself.
See, that was the one thing about my education that was weird, is like they had these like learning training books, and like I would blow through those, but they'd be like, no, you can't read more advanced than this. You have to master this super simple, the cat jumps, the dog
Right.
runs and shit.
See, for me, I just had a bunch of kids' books, like a bunch of little Dr. Seuss books and the bigger ones. Those are my favorite when I was a kid. My mom had all those, and that's what I wanted to have read to me a lot. And then I learned to read them to myself. So, like I said, like 2, I would just go grab a book.
Yeah, like my mom would give me books, but like the school was like the cat dog.
It just sucks, dude. See, in school, like the stuff I remember reading in school starts in the 4th grade. The 4th grade was really when I remember us having a book that we were supposed to go read. And we read a book that probably would not be on the 4th grade curriculum now. We read Hatchet in the 4th grade. Which, Hatchet is a pretty brutal book. I mean, it's not super brutal, but it's got it's got a dead body in it. It's got horrible injury in it. We read that book, and I was fucking hooked. That book is still one of my favorite books of all time. Maybe my favorite, because it's a book that I can sit down in an evening and just like, such a good story. So well, yeah, the body in the plane, that stuck with me. That image is so fucking haunting, because it's so well described. He cuts his way into the tail of the plane that crashed to get the fucking emergency pack out of it. He has to kind of swim through the hole he makes and kind of go underwater a little bit. And then he opens his eyes underwater and he sees the pack and he grabs it, and then he looks towards the front of the plane and he sees this from behind, the pilot. And he's just a skull now. There are little bits of hair and flesh and shit on him, and fish are eating him and shit. And all of the air goes out of his lungs, and he almost drowns down there because of what he sees. He forgets how to get out. He's like, oh. It's just like such a fucking moment. It's like, oh my God. That stuck with me. Next year, we read Where the Red Fern Grows, which is one of the most heartbreaking goddamn books you will ever read in your life. It's about a little boy who lives with a sharecropper father who basically has no money, and all he wants in his life is to have a pair of hunting dogs so that he can hunt raccoons. And it's about him saving up all, doing odd jobs, saving up the money to go down to the store to get 2 healthy pups, raising them. He falls in love with them. They become great raccoon dogs. They work together. And then, of course, they fucking die. Or one of them tragically dies. It's like horrible. But goddamn, man, those books were evocative. And the facts that kids, like, they're not getting shown that that's what literature is. It can move you like that. That's why they gave us those books, I think,
Well,
at that age.
I remember they gave us like reading lists, but they weren't like required reading lists. So
See,
all those books were on there, but there was no like, we didn't go through them in class.
We didn't go through all, but it's like every year we had a book
Yeah.
after the 4th grade. We read and wrote and spoke in the class about the book.
Dude, it was sad how bad reading levels were, because like I remember in high school, like they would have us take turns reading, like it allowed, like we were reading the Odyssey, and people, you're even reading Anthem, which is not a very complex book, and people were tripping and tripping and tripping on the words. And it was
Just like really bad oral out loud reading skills.
Which means that, and they didn't know what half the words meant, and it was like, what the fuck happened? Where like,
how did you get to high school?
Yeah.
With that level of.
Yeah, like probably maybe 6th grade reading level or some shit.
Even more salient, how the fuck were you failed so hard by your elementary experience? Happy Father's Day, the most beautiful bearded pimp daddy on the net. Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
You're a daddy to a kitty and a dog.
True. True that. I got a kid. I got 2
Father's Day mug.
That's true. I got 2 fur babies. I'm a pretty good dad to them, so I guess I deserve a happy Father's Day here and there. Because K-8 teachers go out of their way to pass you along and make you somebody else's problem. See, I feel like that may be true now, and that's not. I will stand in defense of the teachers that I used to work with. That is not true of all the teachers, but there are teachers who are like that. I didn't have teachers like that when I was a kid. I remember all my teachers. I can go through and remember all of my fucking teachers, I bet, if I try. Mrs. Wright was my kindergarten teacher. Mrs. Ragnetti was my 1st grade teacher. Who taught my 2nd grade? Mrs. Johnstone taught my 2nd grade. She was a black lady. Really great teacher. My 3rd grade teacher was Mrs. Ragnetti again. My 4th grade teacher was Mrs. Wright again. She moved from kindergarten to 4th grade. And so she taught my 4th grade. My 5th grade teacher was Mrs. Sidlowski. She was great. Her teacher's aide was a lady named Mrs. Tombaugh. Mrs. Tombaugh's grandfather discovered Pluto. Pretty neat. So she used to bring in pictures of her with him and do presentations for the class about telescopes and stuff like that. You can go look it up, by the way. The guy that discovered Pluto's his name is Tombaugh. I worked with his granddaughter was my teacher's aide when I was growing up. So that was cool. 5th grade, Mrs. Sidlowski. She was crazy. Mrs. Sidlowski was an immigrant, Polish immigrant. And so she had a very thick accent. And she spoke German sometimes to us. She would say, Wunderbar! So she was a total character. My 6th grade teacher was Mrs. Pohl. Mrs. Pohl was a really, really nice lady. I went on to work with her when I worked at the school district. 7th grade teacher, Mrs. Bursey. And then Mrs. Bursey was pregnant at the beginning of 7th grade, so about halfway through the 7th grade year, she left. Mrs. Divine was my 7th grade teacher the next half. She was a fresh out of college, 21-year-old, hot as fuck, and she had a name Mrs. Divine. So I was in love with her. 7th grade. Then once Mrs. Bursey came back and took her 7th grade over, Mrs. Divine got bumped to 8th grade, and lucky me. Lucky me. There were 2 teachers that taught 8th grade, Mrs. Divine and Mrs. Fishkin. I want you to just picture what those 2 people look like, just based on the name alone. Mrs. Divine, Mrs. Fishkin. Which one do you think you want to be in their class? Just Take a stab at it. Mrs. Fishkin, holy shit. Mrs. Fishkin was old, which is not a bad thing. Fat, which is not a bad thing. Cranky as fuck. Just angry. Not mean, but just like didn't put up with shit. Ran her class like a goddamn military outfit. Ms. Divine, the opposite. She was like being taught by Snow White. You know what I mean? So I lucked out there.
Did you ever have any like super memorable subs?
No.
No.
Subs were always just a joke. Like the kids would go along with whatever we had to do because we'd get in trouble with the teacher if we didn't, but I didn't really have any memorable subs.
I had a sub that would like every time she came, she'd joke about putting her fucking dog's corpse in a freezer. That was her favorite joke.
Jesus, a little bit morbid. Dude, my whole like infatuation was with Miss Divine was real parasocial, bro. So I did the whole fucking 9. Like I was a kid that, because she wanted a kid to help her to be her teacher's aide. And I was like, Miss Divine, I'll do it. Miss Divine, I'll do it. It meant I had to move my desk next to her desk. Oh my God. I could smell her perfume all day. It was beautiful. She was married, get this shit, to a dude named Paul. So in my young mind, when she was talking about Paul up there, oh yeah, my husband Paul, I was like, yeah, that's right. Your husband Paul, that's right.
Girls do that shit too.
I know they do.
They pretend they're not. Like we had one like student teacher, and fucking every girl in my class was salivating over.
Of course, dude. Of course. You gotta fall in love with a teacher at least once. Butt kisser Paul. Oh yeah. You bet. I got made fun of for that shit. Oh, show.
Fuck you.
I got called a schoolboy and all this shit, and I was just like, whatever. I get to fucking sit next to Miss Divine all day, bitch. Call me what you will. You think you could grab me a pack and throw it out here at me, baby?
That's what I just did.
Oh, you did? Oh, thank you. I'm stupid. She'd have me like help do papers, like not grade them obviously, but like put them in alphabetical order for her and stuff so she could pass them out. She had me like, it was voluntary, but she always told me I could stay in at recess and help her with something. And I didn't do it all the time, but goddamn, there were days where I was like, hell yeah, I'll stay in at recess, Miss Divine. What do you need? What do you need from me? Because let me tell you, Miss Divine, I know a lot of these other 8th graders, undependable, okay? But you know who you can depend on? Little Paul Parkey, okay? And I'm telling you what, Miss Divine, I'm growing. I'm eating my fucking Wheaties, Miss Divine. I'm an 8th grader now, and I understand that ain't gonna happen, but I'm telling you, 6 years from now, I'm gonna be looking down the barrel of a different gun, Miss Divine. I'm gonna be looking down the barrel of a different gun. I'm gonna be a young buck, and your Paul is gonna be an old man, okay? So let's get real. Ms. Divine. Yeah. Hey, Ms. Divine. Little Paul Parkey? Yeah, not so little anymore, huh? No, you're not. I gotta tell you something, Miss Divine, and I hope you don't take offense to this. No, go ahead, Mr. Parkey, go ahead. Your Paul is kind of scuffed. Oh, what do you mean? I'm just saying, man. There are better Pauls out there. You could trade up. You got kind of a scuffed Paul. She can kill with a smile. She can move with her eyes. Destroy all your faith with her passionate lies. She can bring out the best and the worst you can be. She hides like a child, but she's always a woman to me. She can take you or leave you. You can lie to her face, but she'll never believe you. Ba-da-bum bum bum bum, ba-da-bum bum bum bum. I used to listen to that song and think about Ms.Divine. I loved that song when I was a kid. I loved Billy Joel in general. I guess I still do. Oh, and she'll never give out, and she'll never give in. She just changes her mind. Vienna Waits, man. That's the song, dude. That's a song that is like, it's boomer shit, but it's younger. It's like the type of boomer shit that I think younger people need to hear. Like the whole song is basically, hey, I'm old now, and I see what's going on with the kids. And listen, let me give you a little advice. Slow down, you crazy child. You're so ambitious for a juvenile, but then if you're so smart, then tell me, why are you still so afraid? Slow down, what's the hurry about? You better pull it in before you burn it out. True, true, true. When will you realize Vienna waits for you? Do, 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 do. This hair, I'm just going to have to take it down, Amp. It's just not going to happen, is it? Fly away. You know what I need? A bobby pin. I need to order some goddamn bobby pins, because this thing is just going to want to be in my face all goddamn day. Can I tuck you? Can I tuck my chain? Just get in there, man. Get the whole fucking works up underneath the other shit. There you go. Yeah, a little butterfly clip. Yeah. Use chopsticks? How does that work? Going for a haircut today. Hate haircuts. I don't like people touching my head. Same. That's why I don't cut my hair anymore. I haven't had a haircut in over 3 years. That includes a beard trim. 3 years. I don't fuck with that shit anymore, man. I'm hairy. Let the hair grow. Let it flow. Fuck this shit, man. You know, barbers are a total invention of modernity. Like, this is what people looked like back in the fucking pre-civilizational days. We walked around with our shit wrapped up in a knot, big old beards, the whole fucking nine. Just let it go. There's a reason why we as human beings have hair all over us. You know what I mean? This beard serves a fucking function. I don't know what it is, but it serves a function. This hair serves a function. I don't know what it is, but it serves a function. I'm not trying to appropriate Sikhism with my bun here. This is just the best way to keep your hair up off your neck. If I put my hair in just a normal bun, it's so long now that the bun ends up flopping on the back of my neck. I put it up here. Birds can nest in your beard. Cool. Yeah, I mean, your hair does tend to get tangled pretty bad. My mom braided my hair yesterday when I went to visit her, and I want to see if maybe Amelia will start doing that for me because I can't braid it. I can't braid my own hair back here. I know some people can. I just don't have the skill for that. Amelia knows how to braid, so I'm gonna try and see if she'll start like braiding my hair for me at night. I'll brush it out and braid my hair because I slept last night with my hair in a braid. I woke up this morning, I took it out, it was all curly and shit, and I ran my brush through it, getting ready for the prerequisite ripping tangle thing, and it was just like, it was like, no tangles. It's the answer to a question that I've had of how do I stop ripping hair out of my head as I'm fucking brushing? My mom does this really cool thing. I don't know that it would look great on me, but she doesn't braid her hair all the way back here, but she'll pull her hair over here and work it into like an overside ponytail, and then she braids her hair there and keeps it in like a loose braid for when she goes to sleep. And I'm like, damn, dude, I need to learn that. Is there baldness in your family? No, none whatsoever. It's the one genetic lottery that I won. My grandfather on my dad's side died with a full head of hair. He basically an afro. My grandma would give him a perm, so he had hair out to here when he died. My dad on my mom's side died with a full head of hair. There's just not. My dad still has a full head of hair. He's in his 60s. Side ponies are dated. I'm not looking at it for like a fucking fashion. I'm talking about like doing it at night when I'm just sitting around here at the house so that my hair doesn't get all fucking. Yeah, I start at the bottom. I know that. I learned that, but it's still like, dude, you don't understand. Like, if I sleep at night with my hair out, which a lot of times I do, I'll just let it down and like throw it up above my head and sleep on the pillow. Dude, I wake up in the morning, that shit is like in knots. I start at the bottom and it's like, and I'm like, all right, it's fucking suck. You're just ripping your hair up. So if I could like keep that from happening by keeping it up most of the day in a fucking braid, I'm gonna do it. Yeah, I told my mom to give me a rat tail. I said I wanted a braid and then a rat tail, and she wouldn't do it. I begged her. I was like, Mom, give me a full braid and then give me a rat tail. She was like, I am not doing a rat tail on you. And I was like, do it. Come on, I want a rat tail. She's like, no, PJ, no, I will not. Fuck. Mom knows best. I am not giving you a rat tail. So you may as well quit asking. I love my mom. She's feisty as fuck, dude. My mom does not take shit. I told her to hook me up with some cornrows too, and she was like, I am not giving you cornrows. I was like, but you could if you wanted to. She was like, I could, but I'm not gonna. Like, Mom, come on, cornrow me. I want some vanilla ice cornrows. And she was like, PJ, you are not getting cornrows. It's all serious. You want cornrows, you can go get cornrows somewhere else. All right, Mama. All right. I love trolling her. But Mom, all the other guys have cornrows. Oh, I'm definitely, next time I'm visiting her, I'm definitely having her braid my hair up for me, for sure. She gave me a good, like, fucking tight braid that held all day and all night. So, hell yeah, that's what I'm looking for. But, Mom, I want cornrows. Cornrows with a rat tail, Mom. I am not doing that, PJ. You better quit asking. Well, I'm just hoping that you'll do it for me. Well, you can hope in one hand and take a big old shit in the other hand, TJ or PJ, and see which one fills up first. All right, Mama. I will shit in my hand. Don't you do it in here. All right, Mama. Should I do it in the bathroom? You better clean it up if you do. All right, Mama. Dude, I love trolling my mom. She's great. She gives as good as she gets. She harangues my stepdad. It's like they're so cute together. They're so funny together. Because like he's always in charge of like the barbecue, the meat, and the stuff that goes on the grill, and she's in charge of making the sides and stuff inside, right? And she comes out and harangues him. She'll be like, Steven, are you checking those steaks? And he's like, no, I'm not. They're burnt. My stepdad's an old hippie. He's like, no, I'm not. They're burnt, man. They're probably charcoal on there. And she's like, Steven. He's like, I'm checking them. You better be. She'll walk inside the house and he's just like, I'm like, I know, dude. Trust me. You're talking to the one guy in the world that knows. I was raised by her, man. Think about that. He's like, oh. My mom is she's one of a kind, dude. She's great. Part of me wishes, I really respect her wishes, but part of me wishes that she was comfortable, like, talking to you guys, because I could totally do a Highdeology with my mom, and you guys would fucking fall in love with her. She's amazing. One of a kind person. But she's just not interested in, she's very paranoid. She doesn't like the idea of a bunch of people seeing her face and shit. And I'm definitely not going to push that issue because I know how you mongrels are. It's unfortunate. I think most of you would be totally fucking cool and chill, but there would be, of course, the requisite person in the chat saying nasty things to her, and she'd read it, and it would just fucking underscore how she feels about it already. It's why we can't have nice things, If I could guarantee her that everybody that watched was going to be cool, I could do that. She might be willing to do that. Just like sit off to the side and talk. But I asked her about it one time and she was just very adverse to it. And so I don't hound people with my shit. I don't want to be like fucking Ice Poseidon walking down the street involving people in my content that don't want to be on camera and shit. That just is annoying bullshit. You know what I mean? Did he? I thought he was still doing shit. I thought Ice Poseidon was still doing shit. Like the IRL streaming shit is still pretty big, and it's like maybe not as big as it was, right? But there's a lot of people still doing that shit, right? Am I wrong about that? Like I thought Ice Poseidon was still doing that shit, but I may be wrong. Slow down, what's the hurry about? You better pull it in before you burn it out. When will you realize Vienna waits for you? They ain't that big no more. The only one that I follow is Baked Alaska because I just think he's insane. Like, I don't know if this guy's like a government agent or what the fuck he is. So Baked Alaska, for those who don't know, was a fucking blood sports streamer guy. Started as a BuzzFeed editor, all left wing, then rode the red wave, became this big fucking alt-right icon, was at the fucking Charlottesville rally, live streaming it, chanting blood and soil and you will not replace us and shit. Then was at the fucking Capitol insurrection on January 6th. Live streamed that shit, making calls from Nancy Pelosi's office and stuff. Got picked up, taken to jail, got released on bail. Went straight back to doing exactly what he was doing, like walking around the streets, fucking with people in public. And he does it now, and he's like literally like looking at the possibility of having like 15 to 20 years of his life. And in the interim, while he's off, rather than like cloistering with his legal team and shit, he's out on the street, like fucking with people, just like he used to. So it's like, is this guy fucking real? Is this like some kind of? It makes me wonder whether or not he's some kind of a fucking op. Dude's got a crazy rich background, which lends me to believe that he may have fucking been funneled into a fucking military program at some point. He's got two rich parents from fucking Alaska. Both of them fucking business magnates. That money has funded his whole fucking career the whole time, but he has done shit like agitating at protests. Like, he hasn't used that money to do anything other than be an agitator. He goes to all this fucking white nationalist shit, films it all, gets a bunch of people on camera, and then he himself gets picked up but released. You know what I mean? It's like, it almost sounds like he's a dude that's sent over there to try and like be a media figure so that they can find these right-wing extremists and shit. Not just by watching who follows and donates to him and shit, but by watching the actual live streams where he goes to these alt-right rallies and getting names and faces and all the people he meets and shit. They're getting blasted out.
That's part of like Biden's campaign to crack down on right-wing extremists.
Listen, you can call me a fucking conspiracy theorist if you want, but this is what the CIA does. They did it back in the hippie days. They did it back in the Black Panther days. Anytime that there's a social movement that has a strong anti-government connotation, no matter what it is, the CIA is there. They send people. There was a video of the cops extracting a plant that we covered on Flash Fried. A dude is sitting there dressed up all Antifa, and all of a sudden the cops just pull up out of nowhere, grab him, don't even cuff him. The guy doesn't even really fight. He just like, oh, here they come, look at what they do. And then they put him in the car, no cuffs, just escort him to the car and drive him away. And really what probably happened is they probably picked him up from there and took him to the city center where the violence was and dropped him off so he could be a plant there. It's obvious. So this is happening.
Yeah, well, it's like if the CIA has people in fucking Moldova or whatever, why wouldn't they have them on the ground here?
Of course they do.
Yeah.
So the idea that Tim Giannette, the son of a incredibly rich pair of people who has an implausible fucking career history, BuzzFeed editor, then was introduced in that job to the guy that eventually made Milo Yiannopoulos big. He was made Milo Yiannopoulos' tour manager, followed Milo around, filming him everywhere. Then when that fell out, he became this blood sports guy that went to all the alt-right rallies and filmed all the people that were there. Always manages to skirt around legal trouble. Literally kicked in a window at the Capitol and made phone calls in Nancy Pelosi's office and was filming everybody around. The other people that did that, they're in jail, awaiting trial. He's out, streaming on the street again. You can say anything. Well, I understand, but that's the whole point of the CIA. They leave you no point but speculation. We know for an absolute fact that they have infiltrated other social movements. Absolutely, incontrovertibly, we know that. That's declassified shit. So that's public record. They send agents in to be Black Panthers. They send agents in to be hippies or anarchists or communists. And that person participates in the group and then reports everything that's being said and all the names and all the connections back. So you're telling, like, I know it's speculation. I can't prove he's anything. But think about this. If not him, then somebody, right? They want to have somebody with some high profile shit so that people are fine being on his stream. Are you baked Alaska? Oh, my name's John so-and-so from fucking Kentucky. And then guess who shows up tomorrow at John so-and-so's house? You know what I mean? During the Kent State protests, they had tons of infiltrators. They even tried to plant a rocket launcher on one of the protest leaders. Yup. This is not a joke. Like, they do this. Not a fucking conspiracy, not bullshit. The CIA does this shit. They recruit young people, train them up to be spies, send them out amongst fucking hippies, communists, labor organizers, whatever the fuck they want to get eyes on. Have that person infiltrate the group and then report everything back. Sometimes they flip people within the organization. They'll go to the, like, one of the leaders or one of the, like, the higher ups in the organization. Arrest the person secretly, whisk them away somewhere, and tell them, look, this whole fucking organization is going away, and you can play ball or you can go away with them. And those people get scared and they go, oh fuck. They wire up. They become little fucking CIA goons. You know, maybe he's not like an intentional CIA plan. Maybe he's a dude they've got dirt on. And the CIA approached him at some point. And they were like, look, you're going to start collecting info for us. You're going to start going where we tell you to go and filming everything.
That's probably part of why mandatory minimums were created, is so they can strong arm people that they arrest more.
Of course.
Because, like, if you had a joint or something, they could throw 5 years at you or something. Then
right. Then they flip. If you have any kind of use as an informant, they flip you. If not, you just go up. Mm-hmm. Like a criminal informant. Yeah, there was I'm trying to remember who it was. Was it Whitey Bulger? I think it was. So Whitey Bulger, unbeknownst to everybody who worked for him, he was an Irish gangster. Ran a brutal crew of people. And unbeknownst to everybody that worked for him, was a CIA informant the whole time. Giving up information on people underneath him, giving up information on people that worked with. Like, they had him under the thumb the whole time. They let him go out and be a criminal presence because it was more lucrative to have somebody in there going like, yep, this guy's going to move on this truck tonight, 8 o'clock. They go bust that, boom. They get the constant clearing of cases. They get to pretend that they're actually fighting it. Whitey Bulger gets to continue to be a big fat fucking... See, what they do is they use those guys up, and then when it gets too hot, they bust them too. And when they tried to bust Whitey, he ran. He was like, fuck you, I'm out. Eventually got him. Yeah, his first day in prison didn't go so well, did it? Oops. That's why, like, dude, my conspiratorial side will sit and think about this shit. Like, what are the possible ops that have been run on us? Possible. This Epstein shit
Yeah, they could have
reeks.
easily planted a young-looking woman in
Oh
there.
my God, it reeks of an op. I'm not saying he wasn't doing it. I'm saying that this was an op to get dirt on people that blew up. And now it's all fucking getting swept under the rug. I think Epstein was a fucking CIA agent.
You think?
Yeah. I think it was his job to get dirt on all these fucking politicians and world leaders and shit. Serve them up 14-year-old prostitutes. And then once you've done that, that person can destroy you. How much power Epstein had, right? And I think that like, some shit broke that wasn't supposed to break, and Epstein became a liability
Like, got dirt on the wrong person or something.
or whatever it was,
Yeah.
and fucking got gaffled up and was dead within a few days of being in prison. On baby watch. Give me a break. Coincidence, 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 coincidence.
Yeah. It's not like our government doesn't work with shitty-ass fucking people.
We know that we've infiltrated fucking foreign governments. We've fostered fake fucking military coups and planted fucking American plants. Dude, Manuel Noriega was a dictator in Central America who was a literal CIA agent. We sent him there to destabilize. And then once he got there and got power, he was like, well, fuck the CIA agent shit. I'm the leader. He went rogue. So think about that shit. So you gotta now I'm not saying that you run with it, but you have to think about every big story in this way. Is this manufactured? Does this serve some further narrative that's against my class interests? And if you really look at a lot of breaking news, the answer to that question will be yes. Doesn't mean that what happened isn't true. Doesn't mean what happened is falsified. It just means that there's a possibility that it is. And certainly the narrative on what happened is tailor-made. You have to be fucking paranoid to a certain extent. You take things at face value in this point in time at your peril. Really, at any point in human history, the narrative is controlled by the fucking newspapers, word of mouth, political agents that have an agenda. Spin is not new, but it's gone completely over the moon now. Everything is spin, and you have to be critical and paranoid about every big story that happens, because if it serves someone, there's a chance that it was manufactured. If it serves our country's narrative, or if it serves billionaires or a big weapons manufacturer here with ties to multiple people in the government, there is a chance that the big bad incident was manufactured. Think about it.
I remember I did like mock trial or something, and one of those was like a terrorist plot to like blow up one of the ferries, and like there was a big argument. It's like, did they like overly enable him to, entrap him?
Yep. I hate to bring it up again, but when it comes to like conspiracy shit, this is one of the first things that comes to my mind. The Las Vegas shooter. Look at all of these other mass shooters. We have narrative, we have cause, we have manifestos, we have background, who they are, what they did, where they grew up, who their parents were, where they went to school, who were their friends, interviews with their friends. This fucking guy takes a military arsenal to the 32nd floor of a Las Vegas hotel and mows down a concert. And we know fuck all about this kid. Well, he wasn't a kid. We know fuck all about this dude. Fuck all. He was rich. He flew planes. no manifesto, a laptop sitting in his fucking room that implausibly has no hard drive in it, so it was a non-functional laptop. His wife skips the fucking country 2 days after he does this, and we let her. And then we do an interview with her in the Philippines. She's never brought back. What? No motive. No fucking media narrative about this guy. No fucking backstory. No, who was the Las Vegas shooter and what do we know? None of it. Go find me something. Every other mass shooter, you'll find it. Every other one. Cho Sung-hui, fucking all these guys. Elliot Rogers. You'll find it. Find multiples of it. This guy, crickets. The interview with his brother, you mean the brother that like a week after that interview was busted with a bunch of child pornography and sent away? Under a sealed indictment? Under the rug that goes. Yeah, these people know too much. Under that rug, under that rug, under that rug, under that rug. Maybe you just felt like mowing down a concert. Fine. Why the media blackout? Why the coverage of the event, coverage of the victims, no coverage of the shooter, and then just it doesn't even get brought up. Elliot Rodger gets brought up more than this guy does. Killed way less people. If you're watching the news today and these mass shooters get brought up, this guy's name is off the list. It's like he never did it. Didn't hear news of the shooting until this stream. Serious? I mean, I don't blame you. Buried. Dude mowed down a fucking country concert in Las Vegas from a hotel with a high caliber machine gun. Just had cameras in the fucking hallway to watch when people were coming. It's fucking crazy. Why would the CIA? See, I'm not even saying the CIA did this. I'm saying this guy might have been somebody that had connections with some government agency or the CIA or the ATF or whatever the fuck, with some rich guy that they used as one of their informants or one of their fucking little low-level dudes. And he knew that if he went fucking public with it, they'd kill him. And so he was probably hoping to blow it all out of water by doing something. This is what my speculation is. This was a dude that had dirty dealings with the American government in some way. And he knew that if he tried to go public with it, they would kill him. So instead, he decided he was going to do something so unignorable and leave evidence of it that it would blow wide open what America has been doing. And what happened was the hard drive with his manifesto and all the fucking shit, all the proof of what he did was taken out of the laptop. He was killed. He killed himself. So listen to this. Here's what happened to the shooter. The shooter set up remote cameras at the end of the hallway in his hotel room so that he could see when people were coming. So he was prepared to rat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat, and he's watching monitors. So if when the SWAT team started coming in, he'd be ready to fucking respond to them rat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat, as they came through the door. He had it all set up. Dude killed himself before a single cop ever entered the fucking building, according to the police narrative. Domed himself in the hotel room before he ever saw anybody come into the hallway. Police toss the room, find a bunch of high caliber machine guns, a bunch of ammo, a laptop with no fucking hard drive in it, and him dead. That's the official narrative. That's it. By the time the cops, the SWAT team show up on his camera, he'd been dead 20 minutes. See, Netflix won't make a doc about him because I'll be honest with you, there's not enough information. I've looked and dug on this because this fucking, like, when this story happened, it bugged me out. Because I've lived through a lot of mass shootings. I lived through fucking Columbine. I was 20 when Columbine happened, or 19. It happened in 99, right? I was 19 years old. I remember that shit. Dude, we had those kids' names, their parents, everything about them, interviews with they were real people. Cho Sung-hui, we had his name, his immigration status. We're talking about the West Virginia shooter. Name, immigration status, manifesto, videos of him talking about his plan to do this. Elliot Rodger, same thing, right? All these mass shooters. Stephen, what's his name? The guy that shot up the church. Tons and tons and tons of supporting evidence for mental illness and extremism. And then this guy shows up. Rich guy, well-to-do, really well off, owns a bunch of his own planes, takes a bunch of machine guns into an upscale Las Vegas hotel and opens fire on a crowd. No reason, no rhyme. Wife leaves the country. Oh well. What? Abby Martin, yeah. I've seen a few of her videos. You would expect a rich person would have a lot of connections and leave a bigger trail. Well, that's the thing. It's like it's almost guaranteed that he does. Any media outlet that dug deep enough into this dude's background would have a whole narrative about him. He's a human being that lived in the United States his whole fucking life, paid taxes here his whole fucking life, but we don't know anything about him. The media won't dig. They don't care to dig. They don't care to profile this guy. No profiles on the people he ran with, what kind of business he did, no interviews with friends or family members of his, nothing. Just like a ghost. Think about that. What does the CIA make of people? What do they call CIA operatives colloquially? Spooks. Why do they call them spooks? Because they don't exist. You want to know who another CIA spook was? Lee Harvey Oswald. The guy that we all credit with shooting John F. Kennedy. This dude was a CIA spook. Let me tell you something about Lee Harvey Oswald that will blow your fucking mind. We're talking about a time when the Cold War was at an all-time high. Russia and America were on the verge of nuclear fucking war, okay? Lee Harvey Oswald, an ex-fucking Army intelligence officer, okay? I want you to listen to this. American Army intelligence officer, trained in intelligence, trained in infiltration and speaking of different languages, shows up in Russia, walks into the Russian consulate and denounces his American citizenship and asks for asylum. Okay? I want you to think about what that means. During the height of the Cold War, an American intelligence officer shows up at the consulate in the USSR in Moscow, asks for asylum in Russian, and is given it, renounces his American citizenship, right? Okay. Lives in Moscow for a number of months. Then, all of a sudden, he's back on the radar again. He comes back through American customs. Nobody even stops him. And he's back in America. Still an American citizen. This is not conspiracy. This is the truth about Lee Harvey Oswald. Lee Harvey Oswald, after he came back from the USSR, was doing COINTELPRO for the CIA, infiltrating communist movements in the United States. And then one day, he showed up at the book repository and killed the president with a magic bullet that passed through the back of the president's neck, went into the seat, through the leg of the guy in front of him, did a complete 180 and turned around and went back and landed somewhere else in Kennedy's body. Crazy bullet. Yep. Yeah, you have to keep in mind that John F. Kennedy was a president that talked openly about dismantling the CIA. Never mind, though. Whatever. He was just a crazy guy, right? It doesn't bounce off the frame of the car. You have to watch the magic bullet. It doesn't bounce off the frame of the car. There's no evidence that a bullet, because if a bullet ricochets off part of a car, you're going to find where it hit. There's nothing. There's no evidence that the magic bullet hit anywhere in the car and ricocheted back. There's no evidence of it at all. That car was, you have to imagine, the American president was killed in that car. That car was tossed up, down, left, and right. Every piece of forensic evidence in that car. Okay, so let's just say it bounces off the engine block, because you're right. Bullet is going to go through a car. But let's say, implausibly, it goes through the dash and bounces off something like the block. Right? It's going to leave a big old fucking mark on that block. It's going to leave a bullet path through the dash where it hit the block. Nothing. So you tell me. You know what does explain away the magic bullet? That it wasn't one bullet, that it was two. One that came from back there and one that came from the side. But then that means that there were multiple people involved in the shooting, and the lone shooter theory of Lee Harvey Oswald just being a crazy communist just kind of falls apart, doesn't it? But go ahead and trust every narrative that you're given by the news media and the American government and foreign governments, because they have no impetus to lie to you. There's nothing to gain there. Then, yeah, Jack Ruby, as they're leading Lee Harvey Oswald out under heavy guard, just casually walks up to him and shoots him. And then Jack Ruby is killed in prison. What? And then his entire family vanishes. Yep. Crazy, right? Yeah, Ruby went insane in prison, yeah. Oh, dude, you want to get real super conspiratorial? Paul can't prove a fucking thing, but it's cool to talk about anyway. I talked about it a little earlier, but I think that the biggest probability of a CIA plant op gone wrong is Jeffrey Epstein in the modern age. I think that Jeffrey Epstein probably started himself out doing the types of things that he's accused of, being like a pimp for underage girls. But at some point, of course, because everything's on the radar of the fucking CIA, at some point he's approached and he's like, look, he's given the fucking deal, right? Look, you're going to go to prison for life for this. Or you just keep right on what you're doing. You tell us every fucking person that comes to you and who they sleep with and when it happens, dates, times, keep a diary. Go on, Mr. Epstein. How easy would it be to flip somebody like that? Go on and be a rich fuck and keep fucking underage girls. Just let us know who you're supplying to. Dirt, 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 dirt. Politician after politician after politician after media figure after media figure after media figure after educational magnet after educational magnet after educational magnet. All of them on his planes. All of them on Pedophile Island. Then the story breaks. Then some of the girls start talking. And it starts to come out that they slept with some big time people. Princes, high-level government officials, presidents. And Epstein hangs himself. Oh yeah, the royal family is balls deep in this. And not just the fucking British royal family, the Saudi royal family. Dude, Epstein had connections everywhere. He knew the Saudi royals. He spent time with them. He knew the Bush family. He knew the Clintons. Real chummy with the Clintons. Knew Trump. Real chummy with Trump. Yep, Prince bin Salman. Best buds. Prince, not Philip, what was his name? The fucking goofy ass fucking prince. The Duke of York. That fucking guy. Had him under the thumb. See, look at the control you have as an organization when you've got that level of dirt on everybody. Uh-oh. Andrew, thank you. I always want to say Philip, but that's the Queen's husband that recently passed. Prince Andrew, right? Dude, if I disappear, know what it's about, okay? If I just fall off the map suspiciously, know what happened to me, okay? My name is Paul Everett Parkey Jr., and I am not suicidal. I do not want to kill myself. I was at the doctor last year and was given a clean bill of cardiovascular health. I do not have any obstructions in my heart. I was given a full electro fucking cardiogram, full mapping of my heart. I do not have obstructions in my heart. My heart is in good working condition. My blood pressure is normal, and I do not want to kill myself. I have no intention of killing myself. Yep. I live in an area where robberies, especially like home invasion robberies, are incredibly rare. And if one happens to me, it should be considered insanely suspicious. Insanely suspicious. If I'm killed in any way, as a previous victim of legitimate gun violence, it would be like me winning the lottery and being struck by fucking lightning twice. It is extremely unlikely that I will be the victim of random gun violence in my life because I've already been the victim of random gun violence in my life. And most people are never the victims of random gun violence. So if I'm the victim of a random killing event, you should be very suspicious. Yep, and if I don't have a lighter on me, go to TJ Kirk's house. You'll know who did it. YouTube keeps buffering the stream. Oh my God, YouTube, stop. Yeah, download this video and make sure you save this clip. Weed overdose, yeah. Having a good Father's Day, bro. The fur babies spoiling you. Yeah. No, they're very cute. They always spoil me. I got to spend yesterday with my stepdad, who is really my dad. My biological father is very, very much not my father. In terms of like, especially now as an older man, in terms of me looking up to a father figure, he's my dad. So I got to spend the day with him. Got to get him a little gift and swim with him and all of that. So that's cool. They went out of town. They're on a trip for Father's Day, so I wasn't gonna get to see them today. But yeah, I had a good Father's Day get together yesterday. If you look at my Twitter, you'll see I met. You guys can go look too. If you look at my Twitter, you can see I met. My mom saved a bird. It was a mockingbird that got knocked out of its nest, probably because there were too many babies and the mother had too many mouths to feed. My mom found this bird when it was a little pink nugget on the ground, dying. She took it inside, knowing nothing about doing anything for baby birds, and nursed this fucking bird back to health. It's a mockingbird. She named it Rocky. We don't know if he's a boy or a girl yet. We don't know how to sex a bird, but they are a fledgling and totally trusting of people. Will literally, my mom calls him. She went outside and she's like, "Watch this." This is the first time I'd been over to her house since this happened. She goes, "Watch this, Rocky." And I shit you not, this bird flew down and landed on her shoulder. I was like, wild bird. It's like, what? She's like, "Go ahead, put your finger up to him." And I put my finger up to him. He just walked right on my finger and then walked up my arm and got on my shoulder and just sat there. I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, so does he just live out here? She's like, yeah, he's a fledgling. He's learning how to, forage and stuff. And he lives in the tree right there. And in the morning I come out here and he flies down. I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. The problem is that Rocky was raised indoors. My mom has cats and a dog. So Rocky doesn't know to be afraid of people, and Rocky doesn't know to be afraid of cats and dogs, which is a big problem for Rocky. Rocky's going to have to learn that. So that's probably the biggest issue that Rocky faces. But as long as he doesn't get it by a cat, Rocky will be fine. She already did. Rocky has a whole tree house outside, and he goes to it. A big bucket of mealworms. My stepdad made this fountain for him that stays with water, and every day at a certain time, the fountain comes on and it overfills it so that the stagnant water spills out and fresh water replaces it. So he has a constant bird bath to sit in. Like, he's set up, dude. Rocky is set up. She just walks outside and goes, and all these birds go, and the little foxes come out and the little rabbits hop up, and she's like, "Oh, oh, whistle while you work." I'm like, what the fuck? What's going on here? But no, Rocky's cool. It's crazy. I remember when she got that bird and she told me she was feeding it. I was like, "Mama, I'm sorry to tell you this, but you were setting yourself up for such heartbreak." It's like, that little bird ain't gonna make it. When a mama kicks a bird out of the nest, it's usually because something's wrong. It's probably runty. Probably ain't gonna do well. She's like, "I know, but like, fucking, I gotta eat my words now, because there he is, healthy as a fucking horse." No, she talks to him in the voices. She'll say Rocky, and then when he flies to her, She'll say, Adrian. She does all the Rocky jokes with him. He's named after Rocky. Dun, 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 because he's a fighter. So my mom named them Rocky. We don't know if he's a little boy or a little girl yet. A fledgling, so a teenage bird right now, which is the age where they're out of the nest and they're learning to forage. And he's doing good. He's moving along. He's making it. The CIA world is so pure and so sour. The CIA to Rocky. What? What? Yeah, pretty cool stuff. I mean, she did her best. He might end up getting, like I said, if he gets got, it'll be by a stray cat or a neighborhood cat or something, because he just doesn't know to fear them yet. He doesn't have that visceral like run away of people, of dogs, of animals of any kind, because he was raised in that. So there's nothing she could do about that. She did her best for the little guy, and he definitely had a better and more fruitful life than he would have if he just laid there like a little pink nugget and dried out in the sun and died that way. So she gave him a chance. My mom won't cage a bird. She just has a thing about it. She grew up, and her mom had like a parakeet, and they all loved it. And this was obviously a time before air conditioning, and they set him all up and went out of town for a couple of days, and they had a big heat wave, and they didn't even know about it. This is before the internet, before 24-hour news. Came back, and the bird was dead in the cage. He couldn't get somewhere cool. So it's like she will not cage a bird. I told her, I was like, why don't you get him a little cage inside? You can let him out here, but just keep your eye on him and then call him and take him inside. And she just won't do it. She was like, he does not want to be inside. He wants to be out here. This is where he belongs, out here. And I was like, yeah, you're right. It's easy to say, well, I had a better life than most, but when you are staring down the barrel of a gun, that doesn't help. Sure, understandable. I mean, you gotta try. Like, look, suffering was reduced in some way, shape, or form. A little animal got to have what passes for a good experience for that little bird. He took care of her like a mother. When you walk up to him, he opens his mouth because he identifies human beings, especially my mother, as his mother. And so it's like, there's a cuteness to that. There's a sweetness to that. You can ignore that. I mean, it doesn't mean the world is great, but a little life, a little life happened because my mom is compassionate. And yeah, man, I mean, Rocky wouldn't have had any life at all. He never would have had an experience other than falling out of his nest and drying out in the sun like a raisin. And my mom found him, and he's had all these. Look at, he's gotten to be fed by his mother. He gets good worms, and he's got a nice bird bath that's all his own, and he's got a safe place to be, a safe-ish place, at least, for a bird. He's got a little relationship with his mother still. I mean, it's like, all of that shit wouldn't have happened for him if my mom hadn't have scooped him up and tried to help him. And so, yeah, it doesn't fix the world, but it's suffering reduced. But the thing is like, this is what my mom teaches me without even fucking saying it to me. The things that are good in this world, right? Because there is horrible, horrible, horrible degradation all over the fucking world. You know what I am. I'm a fucking pessimist. But the little things that are good in this world are all because somebody cares. The little things like that, like Rocky having the ability, even if he does get at by a cat or some shit, the fact that he, instead of drying out like a little raisin in the sun, got to know what it meant to be fed by his mother, got to know what it meant to fly. He had this experience that, you know, he wouldn't have had otherwise, and that's beautiful to me. It's beautiful he got to be a bird and not just a little raisinette in the sun. You know what I mean? And everything that's good in the world starts there. It starts with the little acts of kindness and compassion and empathy. And the more of that there is, the more beauty there is here. You know, the less suffering, the less ugliness. And once again, it's a bird, right? Had he dried out like a little raisin in the sun, would it matter? No. But I gotta get a drink. Sorry about the rumble here. I gotta push this fucking table back because this chair is not meant to sit at a table. It's gotta go back further. Okay, I'll be right back. I gotta get a drink. Can't hang. I gotta go outside here pretty soon. In just a little bit. I gotta go outside here pretty soon. It's crazy. It's hot out here. You see? How stupid crazy hot it is out here. Oof. No flies, no mosquito larvae. This bowl is for animals to drink out of, not for you to live in. So there you go. There's that. Let's rinse this. Rinse out the big bowl, alright, buddy? Chill for a sec. There's your big bowl. That's the Foxy's bowl, too. I leave that out for them so they come up here at night and get a drink. Because they get thirsty. Oh. Stupid door. I gotta go close the door now because I'm an idiot. Alright, we good. I need some wind chimes out here, man. I gotta order myself one wind chime that sounds really cool and hang it right out here by me. Already got a hook and everything for it. Paul feeds the foxes. I don't feed them. But I put water out for them. That's the best thing that you can do to support them because, like, I was talking to this about my mom to this yesterday with the foxes. Foxes actually domesticate relatively easily. A lot of people that have foxes like this on their property will start leaving food out for them. Foxes will take that shit, right? And that if they know that the people are putting them out, so the foxes will approach the people and then you start feeding them. All of a sudden you got a pet fox. They're still wild, but they live on your property. They come up to you, which is cute as fuck, right? But how do you have a pet fox in my position? I'm not going to be living here for the rest of my life. So it's like, where do I take the fox? God damn it. I fucking hate this shit. I fucking left my drink over there, and getting up out of this chair is a nightmare. I'm going to start sitting over here. Fuck it. I'm going to move right here. Poop, 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 poop. Oh, where has my little Jake gone? Want to go back in? You done? All right. I thought so. Excuse me. It's hot, huh? It's nasty. Here you go. Correct. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna have to cut it out here for a bit because it's just fucking nasty out here. Woo! I'll sit for a little while longer, but I'm gonna have to end this motherfucker because it's too hot. I'm baking. Every time I go inside to get myself something, I'm just like, oh my God, I want to fucking stay in there. You gotta do that shit away from your house and do it at a park. What are you talking about? Even then, though, like, they become dependent on it and shit. It's fucked. You don't do that. But leaving a water source out here makes it easier for them, especially in a drought. You know what I mean? They don't have to worry about their babies drinking and stuff, so they can come up here at night. And they do. Every time I put that bowl out, I come back in the morning and all kinds of dirt and stuff is at the bottom because their little muzzles have been in it. So they're out here drinking it, and it's probably helping them. So I keep that full for them. Yeah, it's almost time, dude. I'm thinking this might be one of our last outdoor streams for a while. I really do have to just pull the trigger on that because, to be honest with you, when I started this stream earlier today, it was already bordering on like uncomfortable. And this breeze that's going, like, it's deceptive, man. When it's like 100 degrees plus outside like it is today here, that breeze is hot. So it's like having a hair dryer blow on you. It's like, yeah, it cools you a little bit because you got that little sheen of sweat. And so the wind blows across that and you get this like momentary cool. But then like once that's over, it just feels like it's a hot breeze, you know? Like you're standing in front of a big space heater. That's not good. I'm not super sweaty. Like under here, I'm starting to get a little damp, but I don't think I got pit stains yet, do I? Are there pit stains there? Can you guys see? Nah. So I'm not pit stained yet. Well, maybe over there. No pit stains. But I'm getting there though. I can feel like a little. Dude, I'm gonna ask you guys for some fucking advice, okay? I'm gonna ask you guys for, and this is terrible, but like even mostly the ladies in the room, because this tends to be a problem that ladies have. I inherited this shit and I don't like it. What can I do for that? The fucking lunch lady arm, flabby, flappy fucking wing shit that me and TJ have. I hate it, dude. It's the thing about my body that I hate the most. And I have no fucking clue. Like, is there anything I can even do with that? No, I'm talking about the fucking lunch lady, that shit. I just hate that shit. So gross. Buy an exercise bike. Man, that's not gonna have me have like fucking, it's not gonna get rid of my lunch lady wings. Plate mail pauldrons, good point. That's the best one yet. Doing weight training to get rid of yours, yeah. Oh, fuck. Okay, yeah. Now it's starting. Look at this shit. It's starting. The Schvet. This is it. Rapid fire now. Do it. Ask me questions now. I'm going to take a drink and hope it cools me off. We're ending this. It's over. No more. I shouldn't ask the question. Oh my God, I'm sweaty. Okay, here we go. Another magic bullet, Kurt Cobain. Yep. Don't even get me started. Yeah. Triceps, I get it. Best movie quote? I don't know, man. Fuck. Let me see what the first one that comes to my mind is. Okay. Yeah. Would you like sugar? No, thanks, Turkish. I'm sweet enough. Bricktop from fucking Snatch. There you go. What role would you be most suited to in a traveling circus? Like probably the ringmaster guy, the big like all that shit probably. 15-minute sauna, no. No questions, just love and admiration. We'll all get cooled off inside, dude. Have a great day. Yeah. Did you hear about the video game based off of Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo? It looks really weird. I did not. I'll have to look into it. Greatest specimen in the universe. Pool or cold shower, either works fine for me. I'll probably do a cold shower today, since no pool.